balance in Nigeria's excess crude account, ECA, has reduced significantly from $35.7 million to $376,655.09 as of July 25th of 2022. A communique issued at the end of the Federal Account Allocation Committee meeting for July 2022 held in Abuja disclosed it. There was, however, no explanation given for the drop in the excess crude account. We're joined by Dipo Oladehinde, who is an oil and gas analyst, to discuss further on this matter. Dipo, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So for anyone that doesn't know, can we first explain the purpose of the excess crude account?
Okay, good morning. Thanks for having me. So the excess crude account was established in 2004 by the General Olusegun Obasanjo administration. And so the account is basically a saving account to retain the federal government funded. It's supposed to save the excess market price of crude oil and the budgeted price of crude oil as well. So what that means is if the international price of crude oil is maybe within the range of $100 and your budget benchmark is around $60, that excess gap between the international market price and then the budgeted price for crude oil is expected to be saved. So the whole idea behind the fund is to have a saving culture where we don't necessarily have to spend all of our money at once. It's for us to save and then have a plan for a life after crude oil. That's it.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. So now let's get to this crux of the matter. And I do expect you to know this because we'll have to wait for government to give us some clarity. But do you have any idea on what would have caused the depletion of the ECA account from 35 million to 376,000?
It's difficult to tell now because there's little or no transparency in terms of how the government what's the basis of spending in terms of deduction from these accounts. How do you fund it? What kind of investments are you making with this money? What's the criteria for even deducting from this money? Because again, like I said earlier, the idea is to save for a life after crude oil. Is to save, is to plan ahead and say, oh, with this money we are going to be investing in infrastructure. We invest in a period where we won't be able to get crude oil, excess money from crude oil again, or we even invest in other sectors of the economy. But now, 2015, the account was around $2.1 billion. At some point, the government withdrew $1 billion for the Super Tucano jet to fight insecurity. At some point, some of it went to the Paris Club refund, and the government at some point also said a substantial amount of it went into investments in the Nigerian Sovereign Investments Fund. So again, there's no clarity. What point do you talk from this money? Currently, how the accounts ended up at 306,000, it's appalling, but then this is what we have. Imagine if there is a laid down process of accountability. Imagine if the process was clear that, the deduction from these amounts of money will be used to fund so and so, or will be used to fund certain areas of the economy. Then there will be clarity, and then people can say, this is where the excess, because it's not just the Nigerian thing. Other global economies are also looking at saving or preparing for a period where we won't be able to get money from crude oil. In a period where Nigeria is also suffering from not being able to boost its excess crude account. You look at a country like Norway, they've been able to accumulate about $1 trillion just saving from the excess of crude oil. You look at a country like Guyana as well, they are also intentionally creating structures to make sure that this life after crude oil does not caught anyone by surprise. But in our own case, in our own scenario, there's no clarity. And even the one who saved before, there's no transparency on how it's been managed.
Thanks, okay, so on the transparency side, we got an update on the balance in January. I think it was Clement Agba, Minister of State for Budget, that gave us that update. Now we've got this update from the communique that was released by the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee. That's not enough? Is that what you're saying? These half-year updates, we need more details on exactly what's been spent. Is that the point you're making?
Yeah, exactly. So if we want transparency, I'll give an instance. If you check the Norway Sovereign Wealth Fund, there's a website dedicated strictly for that. Beyond just having a website, the government, anybody can actually go there and see a breakdown of the kind of investments the government is making with its excess crude accounts. So the government is investing in renewables, the government is investing in public sector development projects, the government is investing in infrastructure, the government is investing in. So that breakdown process where everybody can see it, you can track, you can basically track the money. You know what is coming from here to another place. You know the kind of investments the government is making on your behalf. But with these accounts, nobody knows anything. Even the investments you are putting in the Nigerian sovereignty investments, sovereignty investment fund. What kind of investments is it? There's really no clarity because the word investment, I mean, there are all some kind of investment in the market now. But what kind of investments can we be that detailed enough to be clear that okay, this is the kind of investment. So in that way, you are also increasing the trust relationship between the citizen and the government. But in a case where we don't have that, then it's sometimes it's very, very difficult to tell.
So I think very quickly, benchmark oil price in our 2022 budget, I believe $62. Brent crude as we speak is over $100. How badly has Nigeria suffered from not being able to cash in on higher oil prices?
Well, so I mean, it's hard to estimate the kind of scenario we found ourselves in. First of all, the current Nigeria currency is currently troubling. Inflation is currently up as well. GDP is struggling to grow at 2 or 3%, and so a lot of macroeconomic indices are currently not feeling the effects of the rallying oil price. I mean, in previous years, in the 70s, a oil price boom is. I mean, you'd see everybody rejoicing because you could see the infrastructure that is going to be coming out of this. The current Third Mainland Bridge that we all use today is as a result of the oil boom from the previous period. But right now, it's hard to tell because you can't see the effects. Government revenues are struggling. Oil production is currently down. A lot of other macroeconomic indices are also struggling as well. And you would expect that, I mean, Nigeria is the only country among the oil-producing countries that found themselves in this scenario. The only country. So we are in a difficult place. We are struggling to also get foreign direct investments into the country despite the Petroleum Industry Act. And there's also this global attention that is moving away from fossil fuels to renewables or green energy. So we found ourselves in a difficult scenario where we can't take complete advantage of the developments we find ourselves in. And I mean, it's hard to tell the way to go going forward. Really.
Dipo Oladehinde, oil and gas analyst. Appreciate you coming on the show to talk to us about the latest with regards to the excess crude account. Thanks for your time.